Are you looking for the perfect soundtrack for journaling, manifesting, studying, or just slowing down? Experience Lua Nova Lo-Fi Volume 1, a collection of 14 original autumn-inspired lo-fi instrumentals created by Josie the Mustang. That's right, Josie isn't just a pop artist and podcaster. She created these warm melodies, cozy autumn vibes, and peaceful beats to set the perfect atmosphere for writing your intentions, building your dream life, or enjoying a tranquil moment with your favorite cup of coffee. Whether you're scripting your next manifestation, reading tarot, working, or embracing the magic of the season, Lua Nova Lo-Fi Volume 1 was made with you in mind. On September the 28th, Lua Nova Lo-Fi Volume 1 will be available on Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, and wherever you listen to music.
Hey, aí no mundo, tudo bem? Okay, well, before we get into today's episode, I have to give you a little bit of a legal disclaimer because you are going to be hearing background music in this Patreon preview. And it is actually my own original music from my upcoming lo-fi album. That's right, lo-fi. Now, you can still find it with the rest of my music as far as I know because I am listed as, I think, the featured artist or something like that. But Lua Nova Lo-Fi Volume 1 is dropping everywhere, September the 28th. And Patreon members, yes, you're going to be getting a full listening party, but this will likely be a part of the listening party for the general public. Now to the boring legal stuff. A quick note for all digital platforms. All music featured in this episode is written, produced, and owned entirely by me, Josie the Mustang. All rights reserved. All music written, produced, and owned is... What? What does this say? The music was written, produced, and owned by me, Josie the Mustang. The album that is featured in today's episode is Lua Nova Lo-Fi Volume 1. It is used with my permission by me, the copyright owner. All right, let's jump into today's episode. Bonjour, new moons. I am Josie the Mustang, the Afro-Latina goddess of witches, and you are aligned with the frequency of the Lua Nova podcast. And in today's Patreon episode, I'm sorry, I forgot to say this is the Patreon edition. In today's Patreon episode, Patreon members, the general public will be getting about 10 minutes of this episode. I'm going to cut it off in the intro. So I'm going to try to make the intro long enough to where they know what we're talking about. Okay. Just a little sneak peek. So the first thing that we're going to be discussing is the astrological events of August the 12th. This episode is being recorded on August the 10th, 2026. It will be released to Patreon members. Wow. Grammar. August the 11th, okay? Non-Patreon members, you will be hearing this episode on August the 14th. So please keep in mind that by August the 14th, that this event will be over. So August the 12th is a rare cosmic convergence where there's going to be multiple sky events that are going to overlap within a 24-hour window, okay? And so while the headline summaries are going to mention things to you like the solar eclipse, the Leo new moon, and the meteor shower, there's actually a lot of astrological mechanics beneath the surface, okay? So we're going to be going over that today. That part will not be for the general public. I will give you kind of an overview. We're going to be talking about the South Node eclipse and what... Basically, I'm going to give you some recommendations, Josie? What is with me today? Recommendations. And whoa, the Virgo in me is screaming at the mishaps here, but I'm going to leave them in. That we're going to talk about the eclipse, and I'm just going over my notes here to see so I can kind of give everybody an idea. There's going to be a 6-planet alignment. And I will say the 6 planets, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. I love Neptune. Isn't that a pretty planet? So pretty. The Lionsgate integration, because I did not do a Lionsgate episode, but I am going to briefly mention it today. And let me see what else that I want to talk about. How I would recommend approaching your manifestations and possibly spell work during this time. And let me see. Recommended. Oh, and I did write out here. Wow. I did write out 2 journal prompts as well. And the other thing that we're going to be discussing based on your feedback. First, I want to give a shout out to the following listeners: Ashley A, Starlight Reader. I'm sorry if I got that all wrong. I said I was going to memorize these. I feel really bad now. I'm so sorry. Just correct me, because I know that you were one of the people who asked me to talk about this. And it was Coco's Closet, and there was one more of you, and I don't know if I have your name right here. Primrose Moon. Okay. And by the way, whenever you all email me, you don't have to give me your real name. And if you tell me, hey, can you say my username or something like that, I absolutely will. But you all asked me to talk about the recently viral video interview, something like that. Is it a podcast or is it an interview? I'm not sure what panel this was or where this was being filmed or why it was being filmed, but it was a TikTok creator, very well known. Her name is Jasmine. She is a witch, as far as I know. I have seen her on my For You page on TikTok. I don't follow a lot of people, so it's not like shade to her. It's just that I'm not as familiar with her as, maybe a lot of you might be, but I do know who she is. And from what I've seen, I think she's amazing. But I watched her speak with 20 Christians. Okay. And you all asked me to talk about it from my point of view. And I don't really know. There's a lot to unpack here. This is not something that I want to watch in depth, because I'm very, very careful about the type of energy that I absorb. And so because I saw so much negative energy from the so-called Christians, I immediately was like, I don't think this is for me. I don't really want to absorb this. And I know that Jasmine is aware of how to protect herself energetically, and I'm sure she already did and already has since then. She's probably done a lot of spiritual baths to get some of that negativity off of her, because I know I would, but it's not really something I want to absorb in depth. And I do want to state that I'm aware, especially as somebody who has had a Christian background. And as you all know, my grandmother, not my great grandmother, my grandmother was a first lady in a church. This is something that is also very common in the Mexican faith, in the Mexican religion, in the Mexican culture. So my grandmother, as you know, was Mexican. And so I just want to let that be known, because people don't always know that. And just like the colonizers forced religion onto the African side of my ancestry, they did the same with the Mexican side of my ancestry. So not really surprised there. And it is why I look at religion the way that I do. It's very much so from a side-eye point of view. I definitely understand where Jasmine is coming from and wanting to maybe get people who are very closed off, who are willfully ignorant is what I meant to say, and trying to get them to see that being a witch, being a spiritual practitioner of any kind that is not Christian, that it's not inherently negative. Yes, there are negative witches. There are witches who do very dark work, just like there are so-called Christians that are evil. Just like every other religion has evil people in it, there is no such thing as religion making you perfect and whole. Okay? There's no such thing as that. And even in the type of faith that I have, I don't believe in that anybody is all light. I believe that we are full of dualities. And just like I believe that Source, who is what most people call God, is also full of dualities, because there would be no evil if it was never created. So who created it? You know? So I'm just saying, you notice that that sort of evil doesn't seem to exist in animals, that they innately just are. No one expects a shark to be friendly, right? A shark is not all that friendly. They're predators. And so they behave like predators, but that doesn't make them evil. It just means that they're a predator. A lion behaves like a lion, etc., etc., etc. You don't expect them to be necessarily be sweet and innocent and friendly, right? So I think that in humans, it's very different. We, for whatever reason, have been taught that we have to be all good and there's no negative. And so I think she was just trying to teach people, from the clips that I've seen, to not rely so much on how colonizers want you to think for yourselves, which is something that I heavily teach, is you don't have to believe the same things that I believe. This is why there's not a ton of episodes about Aphrodite and Santa Muerte, because although they are my girls, those are my deities, those are my ladies. I always call them my ladies. It's perfectly fine if you don't walk with Santa Muerte or Aphrodite. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think that's strange. I'm not going to, start quoting. Well, I'm not gonna, for instance, the Aphrodite prayers that I wrote, I'm not gonna start quoting them to you and telling you to turn to Aphrodite. I mean, that would be lovely if you did, but that will be on your own. That will be something that you decide for you. There are many deities in the world, including Jesus. And so if Jesus is a deity that you choose to work with, there's nothing wrong with that. But there is everything wrong with you trying to force your teachings onto someone else and telling people that they will burn in your imaginary hell, which people like me don't even believe in hell or the concept of hell. So that's meant to scare you. That's meant to keep you in place, but it doesn't keep me in place. That's meant to, that fear mongering is for you. It's not meant for me. And so I think that's another thing that Jasmine was trying to teach, is this fear mongering that you've allowed into your life. You're afraid of everything. You're afraid of anything that's not, within this book that was created by man for man. And in fact, if we want to get even deeper, it was created by white men for white men. Something that many white men today are aware of. Okay. Which is why I am very anti-religion in general, not just Christianity. And I understand where Jasmine is coming from with her wanting to discuss these issues with Christians in particular, because I can say that within my practice and within my business, the only time I've ever had to get anybody together, it was based on their very backwards, weird views of what they believe. And I know you all might remember a long time ago, I called out this chick online who was upset about a comment that I left for a completely different creator, not for her. The comment that I left was positive for that creator. She now starts to try to use the Bible and Christianity and say that she didn't believe in any of the satanic things I believed in. First of all, I don't believe in Satan. Not the Christian version of Satan. No, I don't. I actually find their idea of Satan or the devil to be comical and hilarious and meant to keep them in line. But it does nothing for me, nor would I ever. And I know that you've heard Shara Seven say this, but I've always felt this way myself, especially after leaving Christianity, is I would never follow a man. Women are the givers of life. Women are the portals. Women. So the idea of a man being at the head of anything that I believe in doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And that's not a feminist rant. That is me just being genuinely confused as to why would your idea of the devil scare me? And this was a woman who said this to me. So I found that even more like comical. Like, wow, you are lost, lady. But people like that, you can't really waste your time going back and forth with. You will just likely, there's nothing that I could say other than you will just end up wasting your time, and some of you will end up being upset for no reason. There's no reason to be upset with people like that, because they have chosen to not think beyond what their pastor tells them, the minister, priest, etc. They don't want to think for themselves. This is why they chose religion. And it especially confuses me when women choose to think this way, because I think to myself, just as an example, the Virgin Mother, the mother of Jesus, why is she not highly regarded above Jesus? If she was the vessel that was needed, how would she not be just as important? Why would she be ever under any man? Why does that make sense? It doesn't make any sense to me. It's confusing to me. But if you choose to believe that, that's fine. But you'll never get me to believe that. Especially considering that my mother was Catholic. She went to Catholic school, so it's not a religion that I'm not aware of. My mother is no longer Catholic, by the way. But I just putting that out there, okay? That this is what I mean. So when women think this way, it's just extra confusing to me. But I am very proud of Jasmine. She really held her own. She was respectful. She was calm. And I love that she listened. She wasn't combative. She wasn't defensive. And this was coming from people that were extremely defensive and combative and rude to her. And she showed them exactly what Jesus would have shown them. Love. Understanding. And even if she didn't agree with them, she was willing to understand their point of view. And so I would say to my listeners, and I know I was already supposed to have cut this all off as we get into the talk of August the 12th, that I don't recommend going back and forth with people who choose to not think for themselves. If I ask somebody that thinks this way, that is very one-sided view of life, about Asherah, there's almost a 99% chance that they can't even tell me who Asherah is. And it's perfectly fine if you don't know who she is. I've mentioned who Asherah is on this show. Do your research. I'm not going to get into it today because I want people to do their own research. That tells me a lot on its own. If I ask people, well, if crystals are quote unquote demonic, then why does your God mention them in your Bible? Why are they there? Just wondering. So that's what I mean by you're wasting your time. I don't believe that Jasmine was wasting her time. And I love why she did it. But I would say for the average person who's going to deal with people that are extremely combative, focus on your manifestations. Focus on what it is that you want in life and don't focus anywhere else. Okay? But I'm still glad that she did it because as you can see, it became a big conversation for a lot of us who have different ways of seeing the world. And I would love to know your thoughts. So definitely reach out to me and my team. We love reading your emails. And what was I going to say? Let's get back to August the 12th. So with that being said, putting on the new moons for aligning with the frequency of the Lua Nova podcast Patreon preview edition. Patreon members, you will be hearing the rest of this episode. And team, thank you so much. Go ahead and cut it off right here. And let's wrap it up for the general public. And then Patreon members, you're going to be hearing the rest of this in just a moment. Patreon members, what else do we want to talk about today? Let me go grab my refresher, and then I'm going to see what other things that I want to discuss with you today.
Still listening to ads like it's 2023? That's low vibrational, friend. If you want your Lua Nova podcast episodes early and completely ad-free, join the Patreon today at patreon.com/theluanova podcast. For just $2 a month, you will get early access to all episodes of Lua Nova completely ad-free. But if you're ready for the VIP treatment, The $5 tier is where our spicy new moons sign up. For $5 a month, you will unlock exclusive Patreon-only content, bonus episodes, celebrity and pop culture tarot readings, and the chance to submit your own questions for Josie to answer with the tarot. Wondering if your ex is finally getting their karma? Curious if that situationship is headed somewhere or straight to the spiritual recycling bin? Josie might just pull some cards for you. Your love life may be confusing, but the Lua Nova Patreon isn't. Download the Patreon app or visit patreon.com/the Lua Nova podcast and join the party. Your tarot cards are waiting, and friend, they have notes. Again, that's patreon.com/the Lua Nova podcast. Check the show notes for the link. Now, back to Lua Nova.